Well, thank you very much for being here, and thank you for being here on video. I think you're going to enjoy what we're going to talk about. For time immemorial, going back to several hundred years before Christ, the greatest minds of all time have focused on answering the question, why is it that some people are more successful than others? All the work of Socrates was around the subject, how shall we live in order to be happy? What are the keys to wisdom and goodness in life? Plato also wrote about the same subject. How should we live? How should we organize our lives and our families and our societies? Aristotle, and all throughout history, the great philosophers and metaphysicians and mystics, the great religious teachers and preachers and the best writers have all looked at this question, what can we do in order to be happy, to be more successful, to have more of the things that we want? If I say, would you like to be financially independent? You say, of course. Would you like to be financially independent?
Yes.
Why aren't you? Why aren't you financially independent? You're making one of the best livings in the history of the world, living in the richest country in the history of the world. Why aren't you a little bit financially independent? And you know what you say? I can't. My bills are too high. My taxes are too high. My costs are too high. My this, my that, my... The fact of the matter is there are people who come over here with nothing from foreign countries and save every single thing that they make and live on half of their income, and 10 years later, working at laboring jobs, they've got 20, 50, 100 people working for them and they're financially independent. Why? It's because they had no limitation. All of our limitations exist within our own minds, and the worst of all is we feel helpless. The second reason why people stay where they are is illustrated by the story of Speedy the Rat. Speedy the Rat is put into a cage, and off the cage there are 4 tunnels. And Speedy is kept hungry, and in the mouth of the 4th tunnel, down here, a little bit of cheese is put. Speedy is dropped into the cage, and Speedy is hungry. He goes, smells cheese around here somewhere, so starts doing a little search. Searches around a little bit, tries the 1st tunnel, 2nd tunnel, 3rd tunnel, finds the cheese at the 4th tunnel. Chomp, 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 eats the cheese and is happy. Takes Speedy out, keep him out for 24 hours, he's hungry again, put him back in, cheese is in the mouth of the 4th tunnel, and Speedy goes, a little bit familiar. He does a search process, comes to the 1st tunnel, 2nd tunnel, 3rd tunnel, there's the cheese in the 4th tunnel. By the 3rd or 4th day, you can put Speedy in the cage and he'll go right to the 4th tunnel and get the cheese. Once Speedy is conditioned, they take the cheese and they move it halfway back this tunnel, about 3 feet deep. This is the tunnel by which I mean about 3 feet or 3 inches around. And Speedy comes running in, rushes to the 4th tunnel, no cheese. Looks around, backs up, counts. Goes and explores, sniff, 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 sniff. Smells cheese in that 4th tunnel, finally explores and finds the cheese. Well, in a couple of days, Speedy is conditioned to drop into the cage, go straight to the 4th tunnel, halfway back and get the cheese. And so then they move the cheese to the back of the 4th tunnel. And of course, in no time at all, Speedy is conditioned to go choo, choo, and get the cheese. Then they take the cheese and move it to the back of the 2nd tunnel. Well, Speedy's put in the cage, goes straight to the 4th tunnel, straight to the back, comes out, looks up at the researchers, says, where's my cheese? Not a happy camper. They say, I don't know. Speedy turns around, goes back to the back of the 4th tunnel, comes back. It's hungry. And when you're hungry, you know, you don't have much of a sense of humor, even if you're a rat. Turns around, goes back to the back of the 4th tunnel, comes back. Now, here's the moral of the story. Speedy has a rat brain the size of a pea. You, as human beings, have a 3-pound brain that is the most powerful organism ever conceived of in the universe. We cannot even conceive of anything more complex and more powerful than your brain. You can send thoughts across thousands of miles. You can think of a person and get them to phone you from across the country. You've done this many times before. Your brain is so powerful it's scary when it's properly used. But Speedy has a brain the size of a pea. And Speedy, with a brain the size of a pea, will eventually figure out that there's no cheese at the end of the 4th tunnel. And will begin exploring the other tunnels and will eventually find it at the end of the 2nd tunnel. But human beings with this incredible brain will keep going down the 4th tunnel forever. They will keep doing what they've always done. They will get into a rut, which we call a comfort zone. They will set a series of habits that are not serving their best interests, and they will keep on with those habits, and they will keep doing things that no longer make them happy, that no longer give them any cheese, and they will keep doing them year after year. And we find that almost everybody today, all of us, to consciously and unconsciously, is held by these twin pillars, these twin bindings of helplessness on the one hand and habit on the other, is that we try to free ourselves from feeling helpless, and we fall right into an old comfort zone. Or we get out of the comfort zone, we get right back into feeling helpless. The only way that we can achieve our true destiny is to break the shackles that are holding us, and the answers to both of them are confidence and courage. Courage and confidence. The greatest single limitation on success in America, in the world today, is lack of confidence. It's not that we can't do it. We have capacities and abilities beyond anything that we have ever thought of in our whole life. You know, if you used your talents to the full for the rest of your life, you would never even use a fraction of what you're actually capable of, based on all the research that's been done. We are right now functioning, according to Stanford Brain Institute, with about 2% of our brain power. 2%. The rest of it is huge, this huge reserve of brain power, which we're kind of keeping there in case we ever need a little. You know, we got so much of it, it's unbelievable. Well, so I said to myself, what is the key here? And you know what? There's a common denominator of helplessness and habit. And the common denominators are fear and ignorance. Fear and ignorance. We're afraid. We're afraid it might not work. We're afraid we might fail. We're afraid it might cost us something. We're afraid of criticism and embarrassment. We're afraid of failure and loss and limitation and lack and ill health and disapproval. We're so afraid. The things that we would do if we weren't afraid are literally beyond belief. And we're afraid of getting out of the comfort zone because of what they might say. What if we did something different? Changed jobs, changed careers, started a business, got into something else? What would they say? Do you know, I was listening to a psychologist talking the other day, and he says, nobody's ever been able to define who they are. But it's they out there. It's the great almighty they that's got us terrified. You know, it's a true statement. We say that when you're in your 20s, you don't care what people think. And when you're in your 30s, you're very sensitive to what people think. And then you get into your 40s. And in your 40s, you realize the great truth is that no one was ever thinking about you at all. And that's the fact. Nobody ever thinks about us at all. And there we are. We're so terrified of doing what we really want to do because of what they might say or think. So we stay in that comfort zone. Now, all successful people are those who consciously are aware that the self-doubt that holds most people back is something that they are heir to as well. And they're alert and sensitive to it. When a person says, why don't you do this or why don't you do that? They have a tendency to say, well, I can't because of this and I can't. Wait a minute. There's a story of a little boy. Goes to school for the first time. And the teacher says, do you play a musical instrument? He said, I don't know. I haven't tried yet. If you ask an adult, do you play a musical instrument? What will the adult say? Nope, I can't. No, never could. Don't have tone deaf. Don't have any musical ability at all. Do you know that every child has perfect pitch up to the age of 5? That every child has the ability to play classical music up to the age of 5. The Suzuki musical training systems have demonstrated that. You can start teaching kids classical violin at the age of 3. Just when they can barely move their hands, they can start to play. It's phenomenal. Yeah, most of us believe, I can't. You know, I don't have it. I can't do it. Our natural tendency is to sell ourselves short. Our natural tendency is to think of the reasons why we can't before we think of the reasons why we can. So the key to breaking ourselves out of the comfort zone and breaking ourselves loose of the shackle of helplessness is courage and confidence. We neutralize the antidote to fear and ignorance is desire and knowledge. And the more we learn about what we want to do and be and have, the more we believe that we can do it. The more we believe that we can do it, the more willing we are to try. And the more willing we are to try, the more likely it is we will succeed. What is the first part of triumph? The first part of triumph is to try. Little simple one-liner. Now, this is what I found. What if somebody came to that elephant and said, Mr. Elephant, you don't have to stay here. You can do anything you want. You're the biggest animal in the world. That little thing can't hold you. All you have to do is pop loose and you can go. And he says, no, no, no. I've been stuck here for years, and every time I'm tied up, I stay here. Why? Well, because of this and because that's a habit. You know, I can't and I can't. I wish I would. I want to. Whoa. I'm too tall. I'm too short. I'm male, female, young, old, educated, uneducated. So what we say is, look, just try. Just try. I say, The very thought of trying something new or different is traumatic for most people. All right, I'll try it. All right. Pop. And the elephant thinks, my God, I've been tied up and made to work like a slave all these years, and that's what's been holding me. And the elephant gets mad and it goes looking for its owner. And what do you call an elephant that gets mad and goes looking for its owner? You call it what? A rogue elephant, that's right. Now, each one of you has the capacity to be a rogue elephant because you know something, there's nothing holding us back except the limitations we have in our own mind. That elephant is in reality unstoppable. And the most important goal that you can develop, the most important quality or characteristic that you can develop for happiness and success is to be unstoppable yourself, is to think of yourself as unstoppable. And you know how you become unstoppable? It's by the basic psychological behavioral development principle of simply saying it to yourself. Because whatever you say to yourself and believe over and over again, you start to believe as a reality. You start to walk it and talk it and act it. So what you say is, I am unstoppable. I'm unstoppable. I'm unstoppable. I don't care what it is. I'm unstoppable. Nothing will stop me. The greatest of all qualities to guarantee success is the absolute willingness to go at anything and refuse to stop until you achieve it. And you know something? The statistics show that 95% of the goals that you set for yourself, you will achieve if you refuse to quit. So the starting point is just to simply say, I am unstoppable. Say it. Say, I am unstoppable.
I am unstoppable.
Now say it like you mean it. Get your thumbs out of your mouths and say it like you mean it. Say, I am unstoppable.
I am unstoppable.
Once more, I am unstoppable.
I am unstoppable.
Yes. So now from now on, whenever you see a barrier or wall or you think of anything you want to do or be, you say, wait a minute here. I'm unstoppable. Nothing stops me. And you know something? You will develop yourself to the point where nothing does. Cause and effect, going right back to what we talked about. Mental attitudes and personality are determined by things that we do. And there are certain things that you can do consistently every single day. And in so doing them, you'll build your self-confidence up and up and up to the point where you become unstoppable. And these are very simple things, and they're practiced by the most successful men and women who were so terrified they could not lead silent prayer in a telephone booth at one time. And they've built themselves up to the point where they're not afraid of anything by working on themselves. Just like a weightlifter builds up muscles, you can build up character, personality, and strength, and tenacity, and desire, and knowledge, and courage, and confidence by working on yourself. And so I'm going to give you now the 12 key principles, practiced by all high-achieving men and women. Very easy to learn, very easy to practice, don't cost anything. As a matter of fact, what I would ask is that you try them just a little tiny bit, and you'll get results out of all proportion to the efforts you put in. The first of all, starting point of great accomplishment is to dream big dreams. Number one, dream big dreams. Let your mind float free. All really exceptional men and women dream big dreams. They allow their minds to float. They think of what they could be and what they could do and what they really, really want. Here's an exercise for you. Take a piece of paper later on and write at the top, dream list, and then make a list of all your dreams. If you're married, sit down with your spouse and say, honey, let's make a list of everything we'd like to be, do, or have in the rest of our lives. But what about this and what about that? No, decide what's right before you decide what's possible. Don't decide, well, we can't afford this and we couldn't do that. We go, stop. That's helplessness. That's habit. That's these old negative habit patterns holding you back. Before you even decide what you want, most people are figuring out why they can't have it. What you do is you say, wait a minute, if I had no limitations, and this is the key, you dream as though you had no limitations. Nothing's holding you back. Imagine you have all the time, all the money, contacts, all the education, influence. You have everything going for you in the whole world. And just simply decide, these are my dreams, and write them down. Project yourself into the future and say, where do I want to be in 5 to 10 years? If I could design a perfect life, so my life was perfect in every respect, my relationships, my income, my work, my family, my health, my home, my car, what would it be? This is the starting point of great achievement, because what will happen is that if you can clearly define that target, you can hit it. You eventually always hit the targets that you set for yourself, but you can't hit a target that you can't see. So allow your mind to float freely. Allow yourself to engage in what is called blue sky thinking. Blue sky thinking means you just simply imagine you have the whole blue sky above you and no limitations, and then you write it down. And then you think and ask yourself this question. What one great thing would I dare to dream if I knew I could not fail? What one great thing would you dare to dream if you knew you could not fail? Imagine you were absolutely guaranteed of success in any one thing, big or small, long-term or short-term, in the whole world. What would it be? And write it down. Now, if that doesn't make your heart pound a little bit faster, then maybe somebody should nudge you with their elbow because you're probably not alive or awake. The fact is that when you start dreaming big dreams, you know what happens? Is your self-concept goes up, your self-esteem goes up. The very fact that you allow yourselves to dream big dreams causes you to feel better about yourself, see yourself better, think of yourself better, and it starts the process of making yourself unstoppable. You become unstoppable. People with big dreams that they're absolutely committed to are unstoppable human beings. It's people with little dreams and no hopes and no plans beyond tomorrow and next week. These are easy people to stop. That people that have big dreams to make wonderful lives for themselves, they're phenomenal. The second key is to develop a clear sense of direction. Develop clear goals and make plans for their accomplishment. You see, if you have big goals, they motivate you, they stimulate you, they excite you, they enthuse you. If you have no goals at all, you just go around in circles. What we have found is that goals are the fuel in the furnace of achievement. You have big goals, and the more you work on the goals and the more you feel yourself progressing toward them, the better you feel, the more positive you feel, the more momentum you develop, and the more you feel yourself to be unstoppable. You see, without goals, you're easily stopped because you don't know what you want. H.L. Hunt, the great oil billionaire, was once asked his secrets of success, and he said there's basically 2 requirements for success in America. Only 2. He said, first of all, decide exactly what you want. Most people never do that. Second of all, he said, determine the price you're going to have to pay to get it, and then start paying it. Earl Nightingale said that happiness is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. The very most dependable way to keep yourself positive and happy and motivated is to think about your goals and to work towards your goals every single day. Because when you work progressively, step by step, towards something that's important to you, you know what happens? You feel better and better, and you start to get results, and the results start to motivate you to go forward even more, and you get more results, and pretty soon you develop this wonderful feeling of self-confidence. You become unstoppable. When you have big dreams, that's the cosmic or vision part of your life, and then goals which are very set and specific, and you start moving toward fulfilling them, you feel fabulous about yourself. 80–90% of unhappiness in our society today is because people don't have goals. Whenever you meet an unhappy person, here's a test question. Just say, well, you're unhappy about this in your job and your family and your health and everything else, but tell me, what are your goals? Do you know what people will say? Geez, what kind of a question is that? Most people have no goals. As soon as they have goals, they start to move forward. Now, here's the keys to setting goals. First of all, write them down. A goal that's not written is just a fantasy. A goal, a real goal, is a dream with a deadline. So take the goal and write it down. And then set a deadline for the goal. Now, when do you want to accomplish it? And then make a plan to accomplish it. Write down everything you can think of that you'll have to do to get the goal. And then organize the plan by priority. What should you do first? What should you do second? And so on. And then get started. It's the most incredible darn thing. But there's amazing how many people say, I'd like to be financially independent. Well, why aren't you? To show me your financial independence bank account. Show me your savings account and your plan for how much you're going to put in each week, each month, each year, and where you plan to be in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Oh, I don't have any of that. I just want to be financially independent. Shut up. Fact of the matter is that once you start moving toward the accomplishment of a goal, the most remarkable darn things happen. Once you have your goal, make a commitment to it. You see, we either develop good habits that make our lives wonderful, or we develop bad habits that undermine our success. And if we develop habits of setting goals clearly and making plans and setting deadlines and taking action, and then committing ourselves wholeheartedly to their accomplishment and refusing to stop because we're unstoppable, then we must ultimately achieve the goal. I've been studying this subject for 30 years. I never met anybody who could set a very clear goal for themselves and make a plan and work on it and keep on working on it who didn't eventually achieve their goal. In fact, if you think about your whole life, there wasn't anything that you ever wanted long enough and hard enough that you didn't eventually get. You always get what you want long enough and hard enough. So what we do is set our sights high. Number 3 is accept complete responsibility for yourself and everything that happens to you. I used to be asked on radio and television, why are some people more successful than others? And I used to think it was goals, was the starting point. But you know what the real starting point is? To accept that if it's to be, it's up to me. Is that nobody's going to do it for me. You know, they say that the mark of maturity is when you finally realize that no one is coming to the rescue. No one's coming to the rescue. That the difference between the mature person and the immature person is the mature person accepts that they're totally responsible for their own life. That they are where they are and what they are because of themselves. Now, this is a hard thing to accept, but you have decided exactly every single part of your life today. You've decided your income and your home and your health and your weight. You've decided your bank account and your car. You've decided your job and your future. You've decided every single part of it. Why? It's because you're free to choose. Freedom is a very, very wonderful thing. Tremendous upside, tremendous downside too. But freedom means that nobody imposes anything on you. So where you are and what you are is a result of all of your choices and decisions up to now. If you want to change any part of your future, then you simply change your choices and decisions in the present. The first thing to choose, the first thing to change, is to decide what it is that you want, but second of all is to decide that if I'm going to get it, it's up to me. We've said over and over again, see yourself as the president of your own life, the president of your own career, the president of your own personal corporation. Because in reality, all of us are self-employed. The worst mistake anyone can ever make is to ever think that they work for someone else but themselves. No matter who signs your paycheck, we all work for ourselves. Do you want a raise in pay? No problem. Go to the washroom next time you get a chance and negotiate with your boss in the mirror. And your raise will become effective as soon as you do. It's very simple. I've never met an employer who was not willing to pay a person more money if they will produce more value for the company. And the amount of value we produce is always up to us. So always say, I am responsible. I am responsible. I am unstoppable, and I am responsible for my own life. If I don't like something, it's up to me to change it. No excuses, no blaming. Never complain, never explain. If you're not happy with something, change it. Not willing to change it, shut up. Right? But the fact is, we're responsible. Number 4, do what you love to do. This is very important. These are the 4, this in terms of becoming unstoppable is fabulous, because if you do what you love to do, you will be like an irresistible force of nature. Do what you love to do and commit to becoming very good at it. All of our research indicates that the odds against there being another person like you are more than 50 billion to 1. In the entire history of humanity, there will never be 2 people like you. Never be 2 people with the same face. Never be 2 people with the same, even blood composition, exactly. Never be 2 people with the same outlook, the same talents, abilities, capacities. Never be 2 people just like you. And that every single person, or let us say 95% or more of the population, are born with the capacity to do something remarkable with their lives. And the starting point of personal greatness is when you say to yourself, what wonderful thing am I going to do with my life? Why am I here? I have this one life, this precious, precious life, and as you know, this life is not a rehearsal for something else. This is the real one. You say to yourself, what am I going to do with my life? Why am I here? What are my unique talents and abilities? Look back into your life and ask yourself, what is it that you've done in the past that you most enjoyed? What is it that you've done in the past that comes easy to you, but which may be difficult to others? What subjects did you do the best at in school? What are the things that interest you the most? What are the things you like to read about and talk about and learn about? What are the things that hold your attention? What are the things that are indicators that this is where you should be focusing all your talents and abilities? Whatever it is, find it, and then commit yourself to becoming excellent at it. You see, it's not possible for us to be happy unless we know we're good at what we do. A person who's not very good at what they do feels inferior when they're with people who are good at what they do. We've all had this experience, by the way, being around people who are at the top of their field when we're not. We feel just a little bit kind of overawed, like we're standing in the shadow of their light. And knowing that we're good at what we do makes us feel unstoppable.